that is to import, I hope, for your understanding, the recognition that no matter how we think of art as a vehicle to make people want things, as enacted, art is a spiritual state of being. And one way that a poet tried to talk about how commerce tries to distort art and never can. The poem was about a great writer great novelist, Theodore Dreiser, who was as complete a shitbird as ever walked the face of the earth. And it was a mystification of the poet how a guy who was that big a creep could write so, and he was a terrible writer. He was just a great storyteller. So here's the poem as best I remember it. No psychiatrist need be called to anatomize his pain. By pain, I think the poet means a sense of separateness from his work. He suffers but the kind all men suffer in their humankind. No, suffers too his nobility of mind, which is the state of being we're in when we're telling a story. He denies it, he sneers at it in his icy nightmare of the superlative of self, and tries but cannot theorize past the knowledge that others suffer too at last. He's no philosopher. His only gift is to enact, as a human, all that his deepest self, which is his artistic identity, his only gift is to enact all that his deepest self abhors, and to learn in his self-contemptive distress the secret worth of all our human worthlessness. So that's to say, however obscurely, that if you're taking this course, you are probably nourishing a secret misgiving or suspicion, which is, this is bullshit. It's bullshit. Religion, look, I got to take a distributional requirement or whatever the hell they call them these days, where you have to take a course in 6 different areas or whatever it is. You still have that stuff? So I'm taking this. It's religion. Bullshit. It's the media, which I'm not going to have anything to do with, but whatever it is, it's all right. Even if you start there and you come with an open heart, somehow you will begin to experience the secret worth of all our human worthlessness. No matter how stupid, if you go see National Treasure, and that's as stupid, I believe, as God has ever tolerated so far. The act of going is an act of faith. Man, everybody's sick here. If I get sick, I'm going to come back here and haunt you. It's a way of staying available for something better. It's a way of, one of the things that I try to teach in real writing courses is that all I can teach to an aspiring writer is how to turn problems of spirit into problems of technique. Everything which you are experiencing as, say, a religious question or a spiritual question is in fact solved by behavior rather than thought. In certain rooms, that's formulated as, you can't think your way to right action. You only can act your way to right thinking. The behavior precedes the changed state of being. Another formulation is fake it and you'll make it. Just do the behavior and your state of being will change. And in that context, however strange it may seem, even going to see National Treasure is a way of habituating yourself to staying available to revelation. It's a way of submitting yourself to a difference. I like to go to the movies. I like the candy. I like the popcorn. I don't like the stickiness under my feet, but you can't have everything. It's an altered state, however fallen, which is a version of what all the old religious practices were. It's a way of staying available. And given that, what I know as a storyteller is, no matter how much not very good storytelling is out there, people are still available to the telling of stories which rest transparently in the spirit which gives them rise. And those are stories which reside in the absence of despair, or another way to put that is faith. Now, as I get older, I become less and less patient with convention. So let me try and explain what convention is. Convention is the set of assumptions in a story which are taken as given rather than tested by the action. So that means, like in a Western, it's gonna have horses, right? And it's gonna have a music hall, and those are the things that we assume existed when we go to see a Western. Now, because as I say, I've gotten older, I am less willing to concede to convention things which I believe ought not to be assumed. So I was originally a Deadwood, which was a Western. How many people saw any Deadwood? Okay, so in that story, believe it or not, was originally pitched to the network, to HBO, as set in ancient Rome at the time of Nero, and it was about St. Paul. And I got it's like the old joke about the ostentatious. See, I may be lately anti-Semitic. There's this ostentatious Jewish family, and they want to have a bar mitzvah for their kid where there has never been a bar mitzvah. So they take him to Kenya. They're going to have him bar mitzvah in Kenya. They're on elephants. They're going someplace, and now the whole elephant train is brought to a halt. And they ask the guide, "What's the problem?" He says, "There's another bar mitzvah ahead of us." So I finished this whole pitch about the show set in Rome, and they said, "Jesus, that's the best pitch we ever heard, but we're doing a show set in Rome." So they said, "Can you set it someplace else?" I said, "No problem," because I'm a sociopath. I lied. So I said, "No problem, we'll set it in the West." So that was how, I tried to engage the same themes and set it in a different place. Now, the thing that I did not want to accept merely as a convention, to say, well, it's not, it was the whole idea of the principle which organizes our behavior, in which we experience ourselves as more than individuals. How that was discovered. Like baboons. Baboons was probably the last word you expected me to say at that moment, right?